Amna was only 13 years old. Her small hands held a few coins tightly. She walked slowly on the dusty road toward the small grocery shop at the corner of her neighborhood. Her heart was heavy, but her mind was only on one thing: her little brother. He was sick at home. He was crying for milk. His tiny voice had been asking all morning. Amna knew she had to get him milk. She counted the coins again. It was not much, but maybe it would be enough for a small bottle. The grocery shop looked old. The windows were dusty, and the wooden door creaked when she opened it. Inside, the shop smelled of spices and old bread. The shelves were half empty. Amna's eyes searched for the milk bottles. Finally, she saw one small bottle sitting on the top shelf. Her heart jumped with hope. Amna walked toward the counter. The shopkeeper was a tall man with a hard face. His eyes were cold and tired. When Amna spoke, her voice was soft and shaky. "Please." "Sir," she said politely, "I want to buy this milk for my brother. Here is the money." She showed him the coins in her hand. But the man looked at her with anger. His voice was loud and sharp. "What is this?" he shouted. "Is this all the money you have? This is not enough." Amna's eyes filled with tears. She tried to explain. "I only have this much. My brother is very sick." But the man did not listen. He pushed the coins back toward her. "Get out of my shop. Don't waste my time with your sad stories." Amna stood there for a moment, shocked and hurt. She had never been spoken to like this before. She turned slowly and left the shop. Outside, the hot sun burned her face, but her tears fell quietly. Her hands shook. Her little brother was waiting for her at home, crying for milk. Amna walked down the street, holding her empty hands. Suddenly, she bumped into someone. A tall man in a clean, sharp suit stepped out of a shiny black car. His shoes were bright and new. He looked down at her. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. Amna looked up and quickly said, "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see you." He looked closer and saw bruises on her small hand and the sadness in her eyes. "Why are you crying, little one?" he asked quietly. Amna did not answer. She just looked away. The man watched her for a moment, then stepped back and got into his car, but he did not drive away. He watched Amna walk down the street, her head low, her steps slow. Why was this rich man suddenly interested in a poor, small girl who only wanted milk for her brother? No one knew yet. After their brief meeting, Amna kept walking slowly toward her small home. The sun was setting, and the streets looked even lonelier. She did not know the man in the suit was watching her. He sat quietly in his car a little behind, her looking at her tired face. Amna lived in a small broken house at the end of a narrow lane. The walls were cracked and the roof was old. Inside it was dark and cold. Her little brother was waiting for her. He was lying on a thin mattress, coughing softly. Amna took the small bottle she had bought long ago, but now it was empty. She sat beside him and held his cold hands. "I'm sorry, brother," she whispered. "I tried to get milk, but I could not." Her brother's eyes were full of pain and sadness. Amna's heart broke. The man in the car saw everything from his window. He watched Amna's gentle care for her brother. Later that night, when the stars were shining, there was a soft knock on their door. Amna opened it carefully. The man in the suit was standing there holding a small bag with food and milk. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said gently. "I saw you today. Your brother needs milk." Amna was surprised and afraid at the same time. "Why are you helping us?" she asked softly. The man smiled a little and said, "I want to help, but I can do more than this. Would you like to work for me?" Amna's eyes grew wide. "Work? But I'm just a girl," he said kindly. "It is not easy for anyone, but I can give you a chance. Please think about it." He left the bag at the door and walked away quietly. Amna closed the door and looked at the milk inside. Her mind was full of questions. Why would a rich man help her? What kind of work would he want? Her brother smiled weakly and said, "Thank you, sister." Amna held the milk close. She knew this was the start of something new, but she did not know it would change her life forever. The next morning, Amna woke up early. She did not know what to expect, but she felt nervous and hopeful. She put on the only clean dress she had. It was old and worn, but she brushed her hair carefully. She wanted to make a good impression. When she reached the gate, a tall iron gate opened slowly. A man in a smart uniform stood there. He looked at Amna with surprise. "You are the girl from yesterday?" he asked. Amna nodded quietly. The gate opened fully, and a big car waited for her. She got in, her heart beating fast. The car moved smoothly on wide roads. Trees and gardens passed by. Amna saw tall buildings and clean streets. It was very different from her neighborhood. Soon, they reached a huge mansion. The walls were white, shiny, and clean. The windows were large and bright. The garden was full of flowers. Amna stepped out and looked around in wonder. She felt small and out of place. Inside the mansion, everything was quiet and polished. The floors were shiny like mirrors. The furniture was beautiful and expensive. Amna was shown where to work. She was asked to clean rooms and help in the kitchen. The people there spoke quietly and looked at her with strange eyes. No one smiled or said hello. Amna felt lonely but kept working hard. She wanted to prove she was worthy. The billionaire watched her from a distance. He saw how carefully she cleaned and how kind she was to the other workers. His face showed something Amna did not understand. Was it sadness, or maybe hope? His assistant warned him, "People will start to talk if you keep paying attention." To a poor girl like her. The billionaire nodded but said nothing. Amna went to bed tired that night. She wondered why this man wanted to help her. Was this just a job, or was there something more? Days passed. Amna worked hard every day at the mansion. She cleaned the rooms carefully and did small chores. No matter how tired she was, she never gave up. One afternoon, while cleaning the big library room, Amna noticed a small wooden box on a shelf. It was old and covered with dust. Curious, she opened the box carefully. Inside, she found a photo hidden under some papers. Amna took the photo gently and looked at it. Her heart stopped. The photo showed a young woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. The woman looked very familiar, almost like Amna herself. Amna held the photo close and looked again. The woman's face was the same as hers. The same dark eyes, the same gentle smile. She felt a strange feeling in her chest. Was this her mother? But how could this photo be here? Amna hid the photo in her pocket. She did not want anyone to see it. That night, she could not sleep. She kept thinking about the woman in the photo. The next morning, she decided to ask the billionaire about it. After her work, she found him sitting alone in his study room. With a trembling voice, Amna showed him the photo. The billionaire's face changed. His eyes became sad and deep. "That woman was very important to me," he said softly. "She was my sister. I lost her many years ago." Amna's heart raced. Could she be related to this man? "Why is her photo here?" she asked quietly. He looked at her for a long time. Then he said, "Maybe there is more to your story than we know." Amna did not understand, but she knew this was only the beginning. After that day, Amna felt a strange connection to the billionaire. She wanted to know more about the woman in the photo and why it was hidden in the mansion. One evening, when the mansion was quiet, Amna saw the billionaire walking alone in the garden. She gathered courage and followed him from a distance. He stopped near an old tree and pulled out a small locked box from his pocket. Amna hid behind a bush and watched carefully as he opened the box. Inside, she saw letters tied with a red ribbon, old and yellow with age. She wanted to know what was inside. The next day, when no one was watching, Amna found a chance to take one letter from the box. She sat in her small room and carefully opened it. The letter was written in soft, careful handwriting. It spoke about a family secret, about a child who was lost years ago and never found. Amna's heart pounded. Could this letter be about her? She looked at the handwriting again and noticed the signature. It was from the billionaire's sister. Amna's mind was full of questions. Was she connected to this family? Was she really part of their story? Later, she decided to ask the billionaire directly. She found him in his study and held the letter in her hand. "I think this is about me," she said quietly. The billionaire looked at her with surprise and sadness. He said, "There are many things I did not tell anyone, but maybe now it is time." He invited her to sit and began to tell her a story about love, loss, and hope. Amna listened closely, her eyes wide with emotion. That evening, the billionaire sat down with Amna in the quiet study room. The soft light of the lamp made their faces warm, but the air was heavy with unspoken words. He looked at her kindly and began to speak slowly. "There is something important you need to know," he said. "The woman in the photo, she was my sister. And you, Amna, you are part of this family." Amna's eyes grew wide in shock. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Me? But how? I don't understand," she whispered. The billionaire took a deep breath. "Years ago, my sister was forced to leave her child behind because of danger. We thought the child was lost forever." He paused and looked at her with hope. "But now, believe you are that child." Amna felt tears fill her eyes. A mixture of confusion, sadness, and hope ran through her heart. "Why didn't anyone tell me before?" she asked softly. The billionaire shook his head. "We wanted to protect you. It was a secret to keep you safe." Amna looked down, trying to hold back her tears. The billionaire reached out and gently took her hand. "I promise, Amna, from now on you will never be alone. You have a family here." For the first time in a long time, Amna felt warmth in her heart. She smiled weakly. Her life was about to change forever. The next morning, the mansion felt different. The air was lighter and the sun shone brighter through the big windows. Amna woke up with a new feeling, hope. She knew her life was no longer the same. The billionaire came to her room with a gentle smile. "Today is your first day as part of this family," he said warmly. Amna's eyes shone with tears, but these were happy tears. She looked around the mansion with new eyes. It was no longer a strange, cold place. It was home. The man introduced her to the people who worked in the mansion. They welcomed her with kind smiles and warm hearts. Amna's little brother came to live with her too. The billionaire made sure he had good care and medicine. Days turned into weeks, and Amna learned many new things. She went to school for the first time, wore clean clothes, and ate warm meals every day. But most important, she felt loved. The billionaire kept his promise. He stood by her side like a father, helping her grow and heal. One evening, Amna stood by the big window looking at the stars. She whispered softly, "Thank you for giving me hope." Her journey was hard, but it led her to a new beginning, full of love, family, and endless possibilities. The story of a poor girl who only wanted milk had become a story that changed many lives, and it all started with one kind man who saw her worth.